It was a quiet evening in the alien colony of Vela, nestled on the far side of Xenon, where the stars shone bright against the inky night sky. Tyrak, an alien well known for his obsession with order and control, sat in his sleek, ultra-modern home. His days were structured, and his routines ran like clockwork. But lately, something had been gnawing at him, literally. For several days, Tyrak's kitchen had become the scene of a strange and frustrating mystery. Every morning, his carefully stored meals and snacks were gone, leaving nothing but crumbs and an empty fridge. It was as if his food had vanished into thin air overnight. Being the meticulous creature he was, Tyrak refused to let this go unsolved. He couldn't stand the idea of chaos infiltrating his well-ordered life. The problem wasn't unique to Tyrak either. His neighbors had been complaining about the same thing. The alien colony, known for its advanced technology and tidy lifestyles, was stumped. Food theft wasn't exactly something their society was used to dealing with, and the idea of a petty thief stealing from kitchens felt bizarre. They had eliminated the possibility of technological glitches or faulty kitchen appliances. No one could figure it out. Tyrak, determined to get to the bottom of the issue, decided to take matters into his own hands. He had always been resourceful, and if anyone could solve this culinary mystery, it would be him. Late one evening, after finishing his dinner, Tyrak set a trap. He installed a state-of-the-art camera in his kitchen. This wasn't just any camera. It was equipped with advanced night vision, motion tracking, and a full 360-degree view. If there was something or someone sneaking into his home at night, he was going to catch them in the act. Satisfied with his setup, Tyrak placed a fresh batch of food in the fridge as bait. "We'll see who's behind this," he muttered to himself before heading to bed. He had a long day at work ahead of him, but that didn't matter. His focus was on catching the culprit. The next morning, Tyrak awoke, eager to review the footage. He went to his kitchen and sure enough, the food was gone. His frustration mounted as he hurried over to his computer and opened the video feed. At first, the footage seemed uneventful. The kitchen was quiet, just as it had been when he left it. But then, as the clock struck midnight, something strange happened. Tiny shadows scurried into the frame, moving with surprising speed and agility. Tyrak leaned closer to the screen, his eyes widening. Mice, 3 of them to be exact. Tyrak's jaw dropped in disbelief, not just because mice had infiltrated his high-tech kitchen, but because they weren't ordinary mice. These little creatures had found their way into his home through the water pipes, but that wasn't even the strangest part. Each mouse was wearing a glowing collar. Tyrak blinked in confusion. It was the same technology they had developed months ago to allow pets to speak. Tyrak stared at the screen as the mice scurried around his kitchen, heading straight for his stash of food. But then, something truly bizarre happened. The leader of the group, a plump mouse with dark brown fur, stopped in the middle of the kitchen, looked around, and started talking. "Ugh, this place again," the mouse said, its tiny voice amplified by the collar. "This alien must be the cheapest one on the block. His food is so bland, I'm surprised he's still alive." The second mouse, a smaller, sleek grey one, chimed in, snickering. "I know, right? He doesn't even season his food. Look at this. Plain vegetable stew. It's no wonder these aliens are all pale and glowing. They've never had a decent meal in their lives." The third mouse, the smallest but clearly the sassiest, rolled its eyes. "Honestly, I feel bad for the guy. With all this advanced tech, you'd think he could at least whip up something tasty. But no, he's got the culinary skills of a rock." Tyrak was in shock. Not only were these mice raiding his kitchen and eating his food, but they were insulting him too. How had they even gotten these talking collars? He knew the colony had developed the technology for pets, but why on Xenon were there mice using it? And who was responsible for this? For the next few nights, Tyrak continued to monitor the mice. Each night they returned, and each night they raided his kitchen, all while providing a running commentary on his lifestyle. One evening, the leader mouse stopped mid-bite and looked at the camera. "Do you think this guy's ever heard of dessert? I mean, all he eats is vegetables. No wonder he looks like he's about to faint half the time. The second mouse laughed, patting its tiny belly. You're telling me? I've seen earthworms with more flavor in their diet. The third mouse, nibbling on a piece of bread, added, he should really take a hint from us. A little variety never hurt anyone. I mean, look at us, we're thriving. Tyrak was losing his mind. These mice weren't just stealing his food, they were mocking him. And to make matters worse, they seemed to be enjoying themselves immensely. They had become the uninvited guests from his worst nightmares. Fed up with their antics, Tyrak decided enough was enough. It was time to put an end to this nightly invasion. Using his advanced knowledge of alien technology, he set up a series of traps designed to catch the mice. These traps were no ordinary contraptions. They were equipped with motion sensors, lasers, and even a miniature force field. There was no way the mice would escape this time. Or so he thought. The next morning, Tyrak eagerly checked the footage, expecting to see the mice trapped and defeated. But to his horror, the mice had outsmarted his traps. They had navigated around the force fields with ease, dodged the lasers like seasoned spies, and even managed to trigger the traps without getting caught. As they raided his kitchen once again, the leader mouse smirked at the camera. Looks like someone tried to get clever. Nice try, alien, but you'll have to do better than that. The second mouse chuckled. You know what they say, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Maybe this guy should just leave us a plate next time. Tyrak couldn't take it anymore. The mice had turned his life into a living nightmare. He was constantly on edge, knowing that every night his food would disappear, accompanied by a fresh round of insults. Desperate, he turned to his human neighbor, a fellow scientist who had experience dealing with Earth's rodent population. The human found the situation hilarious. Talking mice? Sounds like something straight out of an Earth cartoon, he said, laughing. But seriously, Tyrak, I've got a plan. You're dealing with some clever pests, but we can outsmart them. Together, they devised a final plan. They would lure the mice in with an extravagant feast, something so delicious that even the most discerning mouse couldn't resist. The catch: the feast would be fake, made entirely of holographic projections. Once the mice were inside, they'd be trapped. That night, Tyrak prepared the holographic feast. It looked real. So real, in fact, that even he felt tempted to reach out and grab a bite. He set the trap and waited. Sure enough, as the clock struck midnight, the mice returned. Their eyes widened as they saw the spread before them: roast meats, elaborate desserts, and colorful fruits. The leader mouse let out a low whistle. Now this is what I'm talking about. Looks like our alien friend finally stepped up his game. The second mouse licked its lips. About time, let's dig in. But as they approached the feast, they realized something was off. The leader mouse sniffed the air, its nose twitching. Wait a minute, this isn't real. Before Tyrak could activate the trap, the mice bolted, disappearing back into the water pipes, laughing all the way. Nice try, alien, maybe next time. In the end, Tyrak had to admit defeat. The mice were too clever, too fast, and far too entertaining to be caught. He had spent weeks trying to outsmart them, but in the end, they had bested him at every turn. As he sat in his kitchen, now fortified with the latest in food security technology, he couldn't help but laugh. After all, who would believe that a group of talking mice had terrorized an alien colony and outwitted its most advanced minds? The legend of the talking mice spread throughout the colony, becoming a story told over dinners and at gatherings. And while Tyrak never quite solved the mystery of how they got those collars, one thing was certain: those mice had earned their place in Xenon's history. And as for Tyrak, well, he made sure to lock his kitchen tight every night, but he couldn't help but leave a small plate of food near the pipes, just in case his uninvited guests decided to return for another meal.